September 8th, 2023. Donald Mustard announces he is retiring from his position of Chief Creative Officer at Epic Games. September 28th, Epic Games lays off 830 employees, roughly 16% of their working staff, with a cited reason of transitioning Fortnite into a metaverse for creators. October 6th, Epic Games raises the price of both the Unreal Engine and V-Bucks in hopes to combat these financial issues. October 31st, Fortnite teases the return of the first classic Fortnite Battle Royale map, with the full map returning 5 days later on November 3rd. All these seemingly unrelated issues can only mean one thing. Fortnite is dying! I have been playing Fortnite consistently since Chapter 2, Season 5, which is to say, I have no life. What started out as merely wanting to own Baby Yoda in a digital format for the lulz quickly evolved into a pretty consistent chunk of my weekly leisure time spent grinding out the latest Fortnite Battle Pass. With map changes, new weapons, and wacky crossovers being added to the game on a near weekly basis, I fell in love with Fortnite. It's a game that knew so much what it wanted to be that it could afford to be experimental, adding crazy shakeups to the core gameplay, rebooting the map, and it basically begun this new wave of live events happening in gaming. But as early as late last year, the general feel of the Epic Games landscape began to change for the worse. You see, the main development body behind Fortnite, Epic Games, has always been, well, they've always been greedy. They called Valve and the Steam store a monopoly because it got in the way of their hopes to be the main PC gaming storefront, spending millions on exclusivity deals basically to irritate PC gamers into using their functionally worse app. All the while having their own form of monopoly in one of the most successful and one of the most adopted game engines ever created, the Unreal Engine, which they constantly pimp out as the working man's game engine. And they very famously took on both Apple and Google in court for their app stores taking a cut for in-app purchases. Epic Games is no stranger to being a money-hungry clout goblin of a company, but the Epic Games that did all of that and the Epic Games that made Fortnite felt like two very different entities for the longest time. Like, yeah, Epic was out here trying to strong-arm indie developers into the Epic Games store, but Fortnite was giving out items for free. Fortnite's Battle Pass was so easy and forgiving to complete compared to the rest of the industry. Epic Games may have sucked, but Fortnite's developers, they were cool. But this long-standing paradigm would shift when they introduced a new mode into Fortnite. A new mode called Creative Mode. Listen, I have no reason to believe that this started out as anything other than an earnest attempt at catering to an overwhelming fan demand. With stuff like Minecraft and Gary's Mod already pumping out great fan-made experiences, and a game that was essentially a fan-made recreation of PUBG slapped together using assets from a beta that never really got off the ground, it all seemed like a match made in heaven. People began making fun custom game modes, and Epic realized that letting fans make experiences outside of the core Battle Royale attracted a wider customer base. So they started paying people who have more popular games, adding direct monetary incentive to create these games. You know, there's a little something for everyone. Maybe if I didn't want to play a Battle Royale that day, I could hop into a pizzeria simulator or something silly like that. And if people are already playing these game modes, might as well let them get a little bit of Battle Pass XP for doing so. You know, make it so you can progress in the main progression system no matter which game mode you're playing in. It's only fair. And you know, while we're at it, why don't we make some of these custom maps in collaboration with a creator or an IP, or maybe we'll do a virtual concert every now and then. Some side content that people can try, and then when they get invested, they'll come play our main game mode, right? Wrong! Fortnite learned the exact wrong lesson from this, and instead tried their best to become like Roblox, pivoting what felt like most of their development team into supporting creative, a mode inherently built on monetizing somebody else's work. That moral quandary aside, Fortnite spotlighting creative so you have to see 800 creative modes with wacky, eye-catching YouTube thumbnail-esque menus every time you want to play Battle Royale, while potentially interesting on paper, mostly led to an overabundance of choice for the new player wanting to hop into the creative landscape. Combine that with the now endless amount of quests asking that you earn Battle Pass XP in creative mode, making creative mode almost a requirement to max out the Battle Pass. And combine that with the what feels like basically 0 games on this screen that actually give you XP for playing them, and creative began to feel like such a bloated mess for Fortnite. Out of nowhere, it became this load-bearing pillar of Fortnite's design, but it never felt like something anyone really wanted, more so just something you could do. I have never opened Fortnite with the intention of playing a creative game mode. It was always more of a, guess I'll play creative. And on the rare occasion that Fortnite did a creative spotlight for some free cosmetics, I'd go and try them out, but very rarely was there ever something I felt like was worth revisiting. And all the weird games that I might actually want to play out of morbid curiosity, like say Five Nights at Freddy's Scary Survival, doesn't even earn me any experience! The final nail in the coffin for all of this Fortnite metaverse business has to be the introduction of Unreal Editor for Fortnite. UEFN gives the power of the Unreal Editor, used for Epic's aforementioned Unreal Engine, to Fortnite creators. Don't get me wrong, it's a very versatile game development engine that is as powerful as it is wasted on this YouTube content farm of a video game. I have no doubt that people have built incredibly cool things with this engine, but from what I've played, it all feels like either tech demos or slapdash worse recreations of other games. This whole building your own experience and creator marketplace thing works over on Roblox because Roblox isn't a game. Roblox has been, for basically its entire life, a tool for kids for them to get their games out there. Fortnite is already its own video game, and when that is the case, it becomes incredibly hard to not constantly be reminded of the game Fortnite should be when playing these experiences. In their second attempt to copy the most popular game on the market, which, may I remind you, second attempt, they did this twice, Epic really ruined the feel of Fortnite. Towards the latter half of Chapter 3 and most of Chapter 4, there was this growing resentment towards the team behind Battle Royale. While Epic was introducing stuff like UEFN and Battle Royale, well, moving very slowly, still pumped out some pretty interesting game ideas, general community sentiment became so bitter and negative towards the commercialization of the game. And when push came to shove, people began leaving the game entirely, and this mass exodus has been all too present in Epic's mind. You can tell. As of late, these crossovers and things that used to be big events with their own items are now happening more frequently and worse, and Battle Pass XP has been slowly but continually getting nerfed into the ground. They want to bring in new players and then chain them to the game with this arbitrarily long grind. And to me, there is no greater sign of this change than the fact that the new season has returned to the Chapter 1 map. This is pure nostalgia pandering. They know they're losing people and they know doing this will bring them back. But think about it for a second. It's not really a good idea. Fortnite has become more and more of a cultural juggernaut to the common man these past couple years through both its crossovers and its constant ever-changing gameplay. New guns, new mechanics, new sections of the map, one of these things coming on a basically weekly basis, is super cool and interesting. So with that being said, I have no idea why they wanted to revert the game back before any of those cool ideas were implemented. Even though they kept the more sweeping changes like no build and extra movement mechanics, going back to Fortnite's base map, base weapons, if you're not nostalgic for it, it's just a more boring, bland, and unintuitive version of the game you were playing a couple weeks ago. And even if you are the target audience for this, you'll probably realize how bad of a move this was after a couple matches. I can respect the idea of trying to go back to the classics, but Fortnite already does that pretty consistently and has been constantly reusing these map points of interest for years. Tilted Towers is coming back. Sure, exciting. But we already did that. In fact, we did that for basically all of these different map points, except when they brought them back the first time, they were brought back with the new mechanics in mind. It's like trying to play a Pokemon game with a level 100 Charmander. Yeah, sure, it gets the job done, but it evolves into a Charizard for a reason. Fortnite evolved for a reason. Fortnite going back like this just feels like they're trying to rile up some kind of last hurrah out of its audience. But it's not like the players themselves are changing back too. The people who hate new Fortnite are gonna be gone after this season anyways. By far, the most common complaint I hear about Fortnite is that somehow the game was ruined by all the crossovers, or ruined by the fact that everyone got so good and sweaty at the building mechanics. And that crowd is the most vocally supportive that I've seen of the return of OG Fortnite. But this doesn't change anything. Everyone is still going to be wearing the same stupid skins, still doing the same stupid emotes, and you're not going to be able to pull out the same hijinks that you once did because the players are still going to be way more skilled with the building mechanics. You're going to get annihilated by some dude who built a 5-star mansion 50 meters away before you even have a chance to react, and worse than that, you're still going to have to play the same shitty creative maps to get any XP for the season. You could try to circumvent the building issue by playing Zero Build, but Zero Build was not designed for this map. Some of these areas feel completely unreachable without building, and because this map was designed with more open areas for building mechanics, there is so much downtime. The later seasons have such tightly packed maps with all kinds of nooks and crannies for you to explore, or activities to do, or different exciting ways to move around the map, but now it's just walking. Or at least, it was, because while editing this video, Epic went and added mobility items from the later seasons back into the game, because even they realized that this is bad and boring, and it looks bad too. The graphics of Fortnite were stylized completely differently back then, gradually shifting to a more realistic lighting engine and better textures with time. But for this, they didn't put a visible effort into remastering any of the old textures, so the game just looks ugly as sin now. This whole Fortnite OG business was one of those ideas that I saw people begging for that I have never understood, and the fact that they made it official is crazy to me. It's done well for them so far. An absolutely insane amount of players jumped back into Fortnite the same weekend this launched, but surely they don't expect this to be the new normal. Obviously, I'm not the target audience. I barely played Fortnite back when this was considered current. But I have to imagine there's a lot of people who are like me. People who only started liking Fortnite when it got weirder and more high concept with its gameplay. So while this is a move targeting nostalgic gamers, it's also one that's gonna alienate people like me. And when the next season inevitably caters to people like me, it's gonna alienate the nostalgic gamers. At best, this is an effort to recapture the crowd that had already long abandoned Fortnite without changing any development priorities. And at worst, this was an excuse for Epic Games to not have to make as much actual new content while they figure out how to keep this money-burning machine afloat. This is one of those ideas that should have stayed on some random dude's Twitter profile and not actually implemented into this failing billion-dollar game. I have spent a lot of time in Fortnite these past couple years. I have been known to spend money on their stupid crossovers, and yes, I have even gifted a battle pass or two. And as such, I am sad to see things begin to go downhill like this. But a part of me can't help but be excited. Excited because for there to be the next Fortnite has to fall. And while that means a game that I love and have spent probably too much time and money on will be gone, the death of Fortnite could also spell a positive change in the world at large. Listen, I love Fortnite and I love gaming, but these big mainstream shooters are starting to get very similar with how they handle content, seasonal structures, battle passes, big in-game events, and when all that fails, big, only tangentially related crossovers to fork in the cash. And while I have maintained and will continue to maintain the opinion that Fortnite handled these in a way that respected the players, We all know that that doesn't hold true for the majority of the gaming landscape. And this cautionary tale of a game supposedly too big to fail, getting overzealous, biting off more than it can chew, and pissing off its long-term player base repeatedly, only to drop dead while its competitors do their best to recreate that success, I think that's a lesson the gaming industry could afford to learn. Or maybe I'm wrong and Fortnite isn't going anywhere. But that's a risk I'm willing to take. See ya!